All right, we're on air. It is Thursday, March 7th, and this is a meeting to check in on active development tasks for Backdrop CMS. Before we get into the core software itself, we would like to welcome K.S. Thomas to the community. He's created a maintainer application stating that he's created some new modules for Backdrop and wants to be able to put them into the repository. So thanks for working on Backdrop modules. In the last week, we had a couple of security updates for Contrib projects and a new project, Prism, which was just released yesterday. Related to the website, backedupcms.org, we have updates for the modules, themes, and layout pages and the tugboat installer that we covered in the last meeting, so we're not going to do that again. But we have a new issue here, issue number 501, to talk about our security release policy. This is something we had a PMC vote on 2 weeks ago, and we just need to figure out how to properly document that decision somewhere on our website. So we just need to figure out where to do that. And I also thought it might be nice to write a blog post about security along with the update that we could kind of drive to people to, hey, here's all of the information about security. And we could also include information about the security team, in particular, how we handle security releases to Contrib projects, just so that all of this information is out there and publicly available where people can find it. Does anyone have any suggestions as to where we should put this stuff?
Sorry, you said as a page on b.org?
Yeah, so we have a security page.
We have, yeah.
We could update that.
Yep. Sounds like a good.
That's where I think it should go.
Okay.
Now that you brought that up, it seems that over the past few weeks, we sort of like have unofficially created a Contrib security team.
So I noticed that you put the word Contrib in the security team on the security announcement last week, and I deleted it. So it's just security team. But we should figure out, like, I think right now there's just one team, but we should figure out if we think that should be split into two, and if now is the time to do it.
Yeah. So mainly was separations of concerns, I guess, that any core issues should not go beyond the team that works on them, as in the rest should be on a need-to-know basis. And if we don't need to know or work on them, then we shouldn't. So basically, the core team now is the core committers, right? So Nate, is it you? And who else?
Well, so the way it has been going is there's people who actually see the Drupal.org issues, and I think right now that's only Nate. And then there are people who help get the Drupal thing ready for Backdrop. And so far we have like 6 or so people who help like apply the patch, test the patch. Jay Franklin will apply it to Silkscreen, and we get feedback on it that way. So there is quite a large team of people who are involved in assisting with getting that core security release out that aren't necessarily core maintainers.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I didn't have Silkscreen on mine, but it makes perfect sense now that you say.
And then yeah, the Contrib process, I think, is a little different because the core security stuff is always done before Drupal's announcement comes out, and then we co-release at the same time, or at least attempt to get it as close as possible. And sometimes there's a couple of hours difference, but we usually get out on the same day. The Contrib thing, rather than being proactive, is reactive, as we talked about last week, where we have people who keep an eye on all of the security updates that come out every week and notify people who are Backdrop maintainers if their projects have updates. Now we go one step further and we'll actually issue a security update for those Contrib projects if the maintainer is unreachable. And so that could be a completely separate group of people from who's testing the core patches, but I'm not sure there are very many people who are different right now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who are involved in fixing the Contrib stuff who are also involved in working on the core stuff.
So the main reason why we are being reactive is because we don't know beforehand. And what I suggested or asked is if there is any way that how easy is for certain people to be accepted in the actual Drupal security team that is tasked with reaching out to contrib maintainers in a way that we...
Sure, the Drupal security team, Nate, you would know more than this than I do. Do they have access to see all security issues on all projects? Contrib projects?
I think that there are certain members of the Drupal security team that have that, yeah, but
not all members.
But not all members. Yeah, they separate it out, and usually what happens is there's only a couple of people that have access to absolutely everything, and then as issues come in, the people that respond to the security@drupal.org address, they file the issue, and then they individually say invite this person, invite this person, invite this person. And they do that manually, usually for the maintainers of the contrib modules.
Yeah, so I was thinking, can we suggest to them that we need either one or a couple of us included in that list so that we, on our end, check if that corresponding module has been ported to Backdrop?
Yeah, so we've
then
asked.
Be proactive instead. Yeah, be proactive instead of reactive. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we've asked, but I think we asked on Jeff's behalf, actually, that he wanted to get access to all of the core issues. But
core or contrib?
But yeah, well, this was just for core, actually, because right now they add me only. Yeah. But we asked if they would also add Jeff, just so that there was more than one person. And I think the same would apply to contrib issues that, like the problem is that it's manual, and I don't think that they would be very excited about adding a step to check to see if a module is ported up to Backdrop, find the maintainer.
Right. I think, but what Gregory is asking about is if we can get somebody at that high level of has access to all contrib projects, so they don't have to do the checking.
Yeah, we will be doing the checking so long as they tell us that there is a problem with a specific d.org module, and then we'll be doing the check. So I know that they individually contact the maintainers of the module that has the problem. All I'm asking is if they could just CC a group of a couple of us with every module. And then we can go and check if the module has been ported. If it hasn't been ported, then we ignore the message completely. If it has, then we react. Like we try to contact the maintainers on time. They might be able to sort it out on their end. If they don't, then we step in and fix it. And ideally, at the same time that the contrib security announcements come out in d.org.
Yeah, I think I don't think that level of granularity. I think that whoever that would be would just need to be a full-fledged Drupal security team member to have access to all of those things. Which, I mean, they're probably fine with. I mean, the more the merrier has always been the kind of policy on security people. As long as people are trusted, then they want as many eyeballs as possible.
Yeah, so the reason why I was suggesting that it could be a couple of us is that we don't have a single point of failure. So if someone is on holidays or something, it still gets picked up as someone who has more chances. And why I said one or two and not more is so that we do not risk sensitive information being sort of disclosed to more people than it has to.
Yeah, I also do want, I like to show coordination with the Drupal community, but I also like to not fill up their issue queue with noise, usually I only post one comment, maybe two, into any security issue and just say, here's the corresponding Backdrop release or, things like that, just to show that there was some visibility into that. But I don't normally go into issues and, post like the Backdrop patches and things like that, because that's just noise that isn't relevant to the Drupal folks on their issue tracker, at least.
We wouldn't be adding noise. It's more like we would be watchers, and we would be reacting on our end. Like nothing that we do on our end would sort of be noise on theirs. Right. It would be more like them letting us know if there is a contrib release, security problem ahead of time.
Yeah, I think if we can select individuals to say we would like permission for these people, then we can give that a shot. And it'll probably need to come from me because they're the ones that they think of Backdrop as being me as far as the security stuff is concerned. But I have a feeling what the process for that will be just sending an email to security@drupal.org and just saying, hey, can we do this? Yep.
Yeah, so if they can have one email that they CC, and then on our end, we have a few people that are being sort of like that email is being forwarded to, pretty much like we do with a PMC, I guess.
We have a security@Backdrop email address. Would that be a good one to use for that, or should we set up another one that's security at?
They need to be Drupal.org accounts. Like we could get the reports as they came in potentially, but then we wouldn't have access to actually see what was being done on them.
Yeah.
And so I think we would need to actually have access to the security.drupal.org issues.
What if it was me, Gregory, and Jeff?
Yeah, I was thinking about the same.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that doesn't seem overwhelming.
Yeah. And on our end, I think Jeff might be the same. He's not around to say that, but on my end, like this is what I do for my agency. I always keep an eye on security things. I might not be fixing things because my knowledge is not that, but I'm the one that sort of like notifies customers. We get approvals. We release the patches. So at the same time, I'll be doing the same thing for Contrib. So yeah, and at the same time, as I said, I don't want to be a single point of failure. So.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the next step? Would it be you, Nate, requesting access for the three of us that we said from the security team?
Yeah, here's the process.
Okay.
Somebody also asked us to come up with a process for how to get on the Backdrop security team. So we should write up something similar for us as well. I'm just going to make a note to do that.
I've kind of got a high barrier here. You have to have worked on at least 5 security issues, 5 public security improvements, 3 private security issues, at least 30 issues independently in different contributed modules or core. You have to have already gone through the Git acceptance process. Your favorite vulnerability and why. Recommendations from existing security team members, the kind of work you're going to do, and expectation of how much work how many hours per month you'll be able to contribute.
Did you actually go through that, Nate? Or you said that this is? So,
I think there are some people that they're like, we know who you are. Like, I think it's an issue for people who like aren't a part of the Drupal community, who don't.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah, it actually says that the review process is the email is sent to the security@drupal.org. At least 2 security team members validate the application and nobody raises concerns.
Yep.
And then you become a provisional team member, and then eventually you become a full team member. And actually, in reality, I'm not a full Drupal.org security team member. I'm provisional. It just so happens that they provisionally include me on every core issue.
Yeah, if we're provisional members and the provisional members have access, just visibility to the problems, then that's all we need. We don't need, because we do not necessarily say that we will help on the D.org side.
Oh no, I think we do need a full access because provisional is only to individual issues still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with all of those things, we might need to do them individually, like asking for 3 people all at once. I don't know.
It might be good before we start going through this process if we sent like a private email to like Michael Hess or something and said like, hey, do you think there's any chance this will work? And then if he says yes, then we'll open tickets for like each of the 3 of us and be like, okay, here's what we're planning on doing or whatever. But at least that way we're not like jumping through all of these hoops ahead of time to be like for them to be like, no, we don't want to add more people to the security team or what have you.
Yep.
Do
I think
you
that
want me
makes
to
sense.
work on that email, Nate, or do you want it to come from you?
Well, it looks like.
Why don't I draft it and you can send it?
Yeah, and then we should ask first.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what it is.
people that we
That's
know.
what the email is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably get Michael faster in the Drupal Slack channel.
Okay. Maybe we'll just do that.
Oh, there is a security channel on Slack, right?
No, just the normal Slack channel for Drupal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I actually do a fair amount of coordination via that, just like directly over the Slack channel as well. I think there is a security Slack channel as well, actually. Maybe not though. It's a mess. I think there's both the IRC and the Slack channel, and really communications have gotten really cruddy because of the split now, because some people are in each place, and the discussion happens both places every single release. It's a big mess.
Okay, there's
a lot of more IRC holdouts in the security world than there is in the rest of Drupal, I think.
Yeah, I see two channels. One that says security questions to ask questions about security, and then the other one, security team, public security team channel.
Yeah, I've not been in the Slack channel. You talk to individuals.
What were we talking about when we started on this?
About the security policy and where we should put the...
Oh, right. There we are.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the very first item, basically.
First agenda item, like half an hour. Okay, forum.
Yeah,
Tim,
then before we move in, just a final thing that we need to add as a task there is to update the contrib sort of like agreement, the maintainer agreement, that to let them know that there is a security team and we will act on their behalf if...
It's already in the contrib agreement.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
We're
We
on
already
step...
say that the security team may modify and publish new releases of your module, like without your consent.
Perfect. We're a step ahead then. Cool.
Yay, go us.
Okay.
Okay, forum site. Tim, have you noticed any improvements in spam in the last week since we put Akismet on there?
Well, I haven't noticed any spam. I mean, we weren't getting any before that because we were moderating.
Right, I turned it on.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Off.
Yep. And we haven't had any. I haven't seen any spam.
Okay.
I haven't checked today, but.
Well, I think we should start paying for that. Which means, Nate, I'll have to bother you for credit card details. Or maybe this would be a good chance for us to get on board with Conservancy and figure out how they would want to do like monthly.
Yeah, we already know how they would prefer that to be done, that we would have a credit card for monthly expenses, and then we would ask them basically to pay the bill.
A separate credit card?
Yeah.
Just for, okay. Do we have one already?
No. We previously
It was like a checking account card.
Yeah, we had a checking account, exactly. But essentially, they now are the checking account.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and I actually think that they do something funny. Like, it's not like they wouldn't sign into any kind of online account. I think that they would, their preferred thing is sending a check or an e-check, like per request, essentially.
Okay. Next up, translation site. Doesn't look like Olaf's here today. I know he's been doing some work on it though. We set up a new category in the forum specifically about translations so that people can use the forum to chat about translations. He asked if we could set up subcategories for each language, but that looked like it might be complicated. So I don't know exactly how that's going to happen, like whether those are going to end up being like a language field or something, or if we're going to actually have a forum category for each country, and then within each category there would be discussions about individual topics. But that is on the works, just trying to figure out how to make people have less of a hard time communicating with each other around translations. And that's it for websites. Nate, do you want to chat about core update progress?
Okay. All right. So let's see. 1.12.4 is the next bug fix release of Backdrop. And we've got a number of issues that we've got highlighted here for being addressed as soon as possible. There's some more RTL issues. There's now actually a pull request on CK Editor icons. The rearrangement of the toolbar for CK Editor is issue 3504. There's now a pull request there that needs review. We don't have any updates on supporting multiple equivalent security releases. 3524 is that issue. No updates there. Kind of regression from 1.11 once we added options element into core. If you have options element enabled prior to your upgrade, then you can get a fatal error because the same function is defined twice. That issue is 3485. Still needs a pull request on that issue. Let's see. Layout clone breaks layouts, issue 2673. There's a pull request that corrects the issue but needs tests. In that same category of things that needs tests, PDO exception when image is missing on disk is issue 3462. HerbTool created a test for that issue, but he said he can't actually reproduce the initial problem, which actually has been the case for me as well. And so we now actually have a test to include the coverage of what that problem is, but it's not failing without the tests, which would be the expected thing to have happen. So
I'm the one that reported that issue. I have a site that fails with the missing when images are missing. So I will run the test and see if it passes even though the thing's failing, and try and figure out what the problem actually is. There might be better or different steps to reproduce that I can throw in there.
Yeah. I've been wondering about that issue actually, because it's like that there's nothing different about Backdrop versus Drupal with temporary files, as far as I know.
These are temporary, they're permanent.
What's that?
These are permanent files. This is a database query that throws the error.
Yeah, that's what's so strange about it, is that like the management of temporary and permanent files is basically identical.
Nothing here is temporary though.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
I guess maybe files are entities. That might somehow be related. I don't know. Anyway, so that one at least is moving forward a little bit. Now we have a test, but we just need to make sure that it's actually covering the problem that is being described. Let's see. And lastly, for bug fixes that are being called out, contextual links for editing views is issue 2690. Sometimes those view links or the contextual links aren't accessible, like they're hidden behind the toolbar at the top of the page. So no updates there. Still needs work. I think needs work. There's kind of a proposed thing, but we don't think it might be the right direction. Let's see. There's also a bunch of other issues tagged for 1.12.4. You can check the 1.12.4 milestone. Let's see. We did fix a couple of things. Let's see. We fixed a problem in link module, adding support for a PHP 7.3 compatibility thing. So that's great to get ahead of that. Thank you, Andy Broomfield, who actually is relatively, new and contributing issues. Like he went through and filed a whole bunch of them recently. Thank you for making those issues and the pull requests. Okay, that's all I've got for 1.12.4. Do you guys have any other bug fixes you guys would like to call out?
Not other ones, but I might need some help with what's going on with the CSS with that RTL issue for CK Editor, the icons. So I have found, so basically my pull request currently fixes the icons themselves, but then there's some CSS issues where they're sort of like with a padding of them and I found the offending sort of like CSS entry, which is coming from 7. But if we remove that, then we break the list items for the rest of the site. And I couldn't override it with CSS that I was adding in CK Editor specifically. So I might need some help with that. I'll post some more information on the ticket.
Great. Okay, so 113. 113 is the next minor release. That will be coming out May 15th, 2019, with the feature freeze on May 1st. We've got 4 issues that we've got called out here to go over in agendas: telemetry, dashboard, config translation, and package signing. Of those, let's see, telemetry, there aren't any substantial updates there. Some more brainstorming ideas. Dashboard, Jen, do you want to talk about dashboard?
Sure, I'm throwing a link in the Hangout chat, but I did a lot of work on that last week on the plane because it was really fun. And then Gregory happened to be working at the same time, and he saw my work come in and he gave me all of this detailed feedback, which I think I've addressed all of it. So it's ready for more review.
I'm laughing because that's only 30% of what I have.
The link I posted goes directly to a comment that has screenshots in it, so you guys can see what it'll look like. But in 7, the style is there. It uses the same style that's on the admin index page or the admin config page. I've added icons. The default one is the arrow you see on the right-hand side there, and then some blocks have their own specific information. I also added the available updates block. So if you guys have thoughts about how that information should be formatted, I'm definitely open to suggestions on that. And I think other than that, everything is good to go. I haven't looked at the config forms, Gregory, so I know you mentioned there's some issues there. That probably was just all ported from the other module and could use to be updated.
Yeah. So for example, I think where we say which content types to show stats for, instead of saying select content types, you might say select, I don't know, users or updates or something like that, or the other way around. I can't remember, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think on the front end, it's looking pretty good.
Yes. So as I said, it looks pretty good, and you can go in sort of like as is after we fix those minor issues here and there. It's just that there's so many the things that I've noticed that I thought instead of just telling you, pointing where things are wrong, sort of like perhaps I'll file a pull request against your branch, and then you can review it.
Yeah, that's fine. Or if, you know, how you, I don't know how GitHub does that, but sometimes you file like a bunch of little pull requests on the code review, and I can merge them there. Those are really handy too.
Yeah, the problem with that is that it only allows a single line to be changed there. So if it's a multi-line change, then it's.
Okay. All right. Well, however you want to do it.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, this looks good. Icons are a big improvement.
Yeah, just having the like border background change is also good too. And I also posted some screenshots of what it would look like in Bartik and Basis, just so that it looks decent. But most of the style that I added to it is happening in the 7 theme, like all the icons and stuff.
Yeah, the icons are not there for the others. One issue that comes to mind now is that when you switch to RTL, then the icons fall back to default arrows for all of the blocks. So yeah, just
okay. I can work on that.
Yeah, one of the things.
That might also happen on the admin config page. I don't know if you've looked at it.
It doesn't happen there. That's the problem. It doesn't. So I've turned myself into an RTL maniac now. So each time that I review something, I just switch the site to RTL, because there were some pretty sort of like major oversights throughout the user interface, and it's the same things are happening in Drupal 7 as well. So yeah.
So that's it for my update. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is great. Okay, cool. Let's see. Anybody that has additional feedback, please post to issue 495, the issue for dashboard. So let's see. In the world of translatable config strings 3455, we still have this great pull request that gets started on us adding config strings to config files. It adds the translatable strings, I think, for the main site settings like logo or slogan and site name, as well as emails. That's issue 3455. There's a pull request there that could use review. And package signing, issue 1992. There's two different proof of concepts there that have been put together, both of which need some review and feedback. Let's see. Also in the 113 list, just while we're on this topic, we haven't called this issue out, but we did add a new feature just earlier today that was RTBC. That translation module now makes it so that if you're using content translation and you place the existing content block, you may now include the translated version of that piece of content matching the current site language. So that's handy. So now you can place one block on a piece of content, and depending on the site language, it will show the corresponding translated piece of content in that area. So that's nice. And that's all I've got for the 113 status update. Let's see. So the next up is do we have any other 113 items before we move on? No? Okay. All right. John, I'll let you do this general discussion.
Sure. So this is something that came up yesterday when the Contrib security team was working on security releases, is that the project, and this happened in Drupal too, has changed its name. So it used to be EU-cookie-compliance. And at some point it became EU_cookie_compliance. And so the backdrop module maintainer changed the backdrop's project name to match Drupal's project name. But the way project module works is that it uses the name of that project to create a node on backdropcms.org. And then all of the releases that are associated with the node with the particular name are still affiliated with it. So right now we're in a situation where we have one project that has a security release that isn't marked as having a security release because the security release is technically on a separate project node. And so there are a bunch of people who are running the insecure module and maybe have no idea. So I was wondering, how do we solve this problem? Like, now that we have a secure release for this project, should we create like another release, like change the name back, create another release, change the name forward, and then have a release so at least the people who are running the old module know that it's insecure? Or do we not change the name at all and have some policy that's like you can't change the title of your project node, but GitHub lets you do it anyway, so we can't actually prevent people from doing that. So just like how do we handle this problem where we have a security release for a Contrib project and people who are running the module don't know because the release is on a different named project than the old one? So
I'm thinking that if we fix the project module to always convert dashes to underscores, we wouldn't have that problem in the first place. So if we enforce that all projects use underscores,
that would be good.
So that's step one. And then the other thing is we need to find a way to merge those two project nodes and their releases into one. Which might be a tricky thing, might need to be done on like the database level.
Yeah. So I was looking at that yesterday, and I'm not sure all of the places that the project name appears in the database, but it looks like, so I started to do it where I was like, oh, I can just update the releases and point them at the new version. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, all the usage statistics is also tracked on the old name of the module. And so I was like, I maybe shouldn't just tinker around in the database until I really understand the ramifications of doing this.
So the other thing that this can work is like because no one has downloaded the new version with the underscores yet, is we remove temporarily the release and the entire project node, and then we change the existing one with the dashes to underscores, and then we merge the release from the other one there once it has underscores.
But
Maybe
it
that might be easier.
doesn't. So the people who are running the version now, they're running the version with dashes. So anything we do with underscores, they're not going to find out about.
So does the actual module folder, when it's downloaded, has dashes instead of?
Yes.
Oh, that's.
But the
big of a-
files inside had underscores. So that's why the module name was easy to change on Drupal. So we're like, oh, the code is underscore. We'll just underscore the folder. And actually on Drupal.org, if you look in the GitHub repository, the Drupal 8 folder has underscores and the Drupal 7 folder has hyphens. And I don't know how they did that.
That was a big mess.
Because it's the parent folder.
It is. It is. It is a big mess. It is.
We do like update module in core supports, modules being considered unsupported or insecure, so we could mark the node on backdropcms.org, the one with hyphens, as being unsupported. And that would just flag it in update module as, having a big warning sign saying this thing is not supported. And then it links over to the issue page. And then on the issue page, we could say, you should delete that module and use this one instead. So we actually could leave the one with hyphens kind of in place, but flag it as being unsupported. Unfortunately,
so I checked that, but there isn't actually an unsupported flag in Backdrop's version of the core project. So I just added the two vocabularies that were on Drupal.org.
Yeah, but adding the vocabulary still doesn't do it because our feed doesn't take into account that vocabulary. So we need to make an update to the project release module that makes it so that it pulls that flag, that status from someplace, because right now it doesn't. Right now it only supports like published and unpublished, I think, something like that.
So if we provided a sort of like an upgrade path or migration path from the old module with the dashes to the new one, and if there was, again, a way to mark releases as replaced by something else.
So we don't need an upgrade path because all of the code had underscores. The problem is just that project module uses the hyphens as the project name.
Yeah,
but what's in the database on people's sites is the underscores, because it tracks like schema version name.
I was more concerned about the configuration files.
Configuration files are the same.
So so it would pick up the configuration from there.
Yeah, like you remove the old one with one name and you put in the new one with the new name, and it's good to go. There's no problem. The only issue is they don't know there's a new one available because project module isn't detecting it.
Yeah. All right, big mess for. Independent of that specific use case, I think that we should have it that so that either the packaging script or the project module refuses to create nodes when they have dashes.
Yeah.
Or either refuses or just replaces them with underscores so we don't have such a mess in the future. What is the best place to file a ticket for that? Is it the project module queue?
Actually, what to implement what solution? That see also thing or something else?
No, that rename anything that has hyphens to something that has underscores.
Yeah, when nodes are created on b.org.
Is that the right place? Like, should we? Oh, I know what we should do. So in the backdropcms.org repository. So it's not part of project module, but backdropcms.org itself has a file that does the packaging, where it modifies the info file and stuff like that. And that's not in project module. That's a custom module on backdropcms.org that modifies the process before the package happens. And we already do things to like make sure that module type is specified in the .info file and stuff like that. And if not, then it return, instead of making a package on backdropcms.org, and making a package is or a package on GitHub, and making a package is required for the node to be created the first time. If there's a problem, then it instead of uploading a package, it uploads this package errorlog.txt file to the project, and we should just add an extra validation there saying the project name has to include only underscores, and it would refuse to make packages in the future.
Yep.
And if there's no package, then there's no release on backdropcms.org. That would solve the problem. So we can fix this in the packager.
This is the GitLC webhook module. Does that sound familiar?
No, it's the Borg GitHub module.
The Borg GitHub module.
Yeah, there's a function called Borg GitHub project validate.
The first one.
Okay, so this will fix the issue for future releases.
Yes.
Or future projects, and then we can see what we can do with a specific module.
Okay, so that sounds good. Now what do we do about the specific module? Because it already exists.
I don't see an easy way to automate this. Maybe just post instructions on the. Can we mark it as unsupported so that people at least are notified about it?
So that we don't have support yet for now, but we should anyway.
So I'll have a ticket for that.
Yeah, that would be an issue against the project module.
Hang on, this might. I'm going to check something real quick here as well. We do have some support in the module. I'm looking through it now. Apparently, if you mark no releases as supported, then it would do that. But I'm not sure where on backdropcms.org, if anywhere, we have the ability to mark something like a release is not supported.
Oh, on a release?
You know how there's like the recommended version functionality? If you uncheck all of the boxes for recommended version, then it becomes unsupported. But I don't know where that form is on backdropcms.org, if we even have one.
So you need to go to each individual release and mark them as unsupported. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you mark every major version unsupported, then the whole module is considered unsupported. And then it shows that flag in the feed.
And it's reflected on the status page, on the update status page on the site, right?
Yes, that's right.
Releases.
Okay. That might be a way to do it.
I don't think we have a form for that.
Oh, I think we do. I think that we have a problem that we don't show subtabs on backdropcms.org.
No, I found it. There's a releases subtab.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I uncheck this box.
Why is it that we don't have the subtabs?
I have subtabs.
Really? I don't. If I'm on like node/edit,
Yeah.
I don't see any subtabs.
I see subtabs. This page?
Yeah, I don't have any subtabs.
Huh.
I just have the edit tab, but I can type /releases afterwards. I can get to this page, this one. That's the page you're talking about, right? So if you uncheck the supported and save what you did, it looks like.
Yep.
Then now that should do the job.
Yeah, I don't have those.
Maybe there's like a special permission for like releases, and if you don't have that permission, then you can't see that tab.
Well, I can access the page though, so it's not a permissions thing.
Why can I see it and you can't see it?
Yeah, that's true across the board. I don't have subtabs anywhere. I mean, there's other subtabs as well, aren't there?
We removed them from lots of places, like the manage fields page doesn't have them anymore.
Yeah, so when I view the project page, I have view, edit, and outline. But if I go to /releases, I see the release table.
Oh yeah. It should be under /edit/
Yeah,
releases.
releases.
Yeah. But that's true. Like on the front end, I see view edit outline, and on the back end, I see releases and releases table, as well as project and releases.
So I know what I'm responsible for that releases table, and I know why it's there. Releases as table, it's just a view.
Well, I don't know what the tab issue is. We'll have to figure that out later.
Well, I think we solved at least the main. I mean, that now says that it's unsupported, or it should, and then we can update the validate function to prevent packages in the future if the name isn't right.
Okay.
Okay. So if I was a person that was using that module now, I will see that it's unsupported. I will go to the project page, and maybe we should update the page to say that please replace your module with that one, and point to the new one. What is?
Yeah, so it currently says, please see the new EU cookie compliance module as the name of this project has recently changed.
Yeah.
Okay. But if people delete and uninstall the current one, they will lose other settings, correct?
Yes.
So we should have a step to say that please save this settings file or whatever. Or should we make it that the new one can be installed in parallel with the old one, and if it detects that it's the old one is present, then it sort of like copies the settings or something.
Yeah, there may need to be manual steps here, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think the right thing to do would be delete the module, delete the entry from the system table, and then put the new module in place.
No, that way you lose all your settings.
Yes, because if you uninstall it, then
You want to uninstall it or delete anything from the system table.
The system table only has whether or not the module's turned on or off.
Right, but
Yeah,
it uses the schema version name, not the folder name. The upgrade path works.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you write how to do it. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
yeah, we'll figure it out. It just needs more time.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's see.
Weekend is coming.
Yeah, I think that was it for everything we had to talk about today. So thank you guys for helping us sort that out. Anything else anyone wants to add? Justin's here. Justin, we talked, I'm not sure if you're actually listening or not, but we did talk a little bit about the Linodes in the last meeting. Oh, good, you're here. And Nate had an idea. What was it? Long-term goal. You wanted everything on its own server, but for now, having just Backdrop CMS.org by itself is fine, and we can put everything else on the new server. Was that it?
The only thing I had was that using one server for everything right now is fine. I don't think that we should start separating them until we start having.
Oh, even including backdropcms.org.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's any need to separate them until we have any kind of scaling problems. But right now we haven't had any problems at all.
Okay. So Justin, you can set up a bigger Linode then as a starting point, and then we can just move everything over there as needed.
Okay.
Justin, you're so amenable. Okay. I didn't even look at this issue, and I think it's worth mentioning on the phone call. So backdropcms.org 479 is where Justin has been posting comments on here. Yeah, actually, do you want to run through these, Justin? Your last comment was just 11 hours ago, so.
Well, I have it up and running. Well, I have Nginx running. I don't have PHP configured yet, but it's installed. So I'll probably do that tonight, and then I migrated the files over, and I'll grab the databases next. Like, I made a little to-do list there. So.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, migrate the databases, configure PHP, Nginx, Maria, and the reverse proxy cache. Let's see, there was something, SSH keys, great. Certbot. Did you get Certbot working?
I installed it.
Okay. I know a lot of people have had trouble with Certbot, which is, Let's for other people. That's for Let's Encrypt for basically free SSH keys, or sorry, SSL certs. And I know in the past we've had some problems with it with Nginx. So if that proves to be problematic, we have the certs off the old site. We can just continue using them for the time being. But this is a good opportunity because every time the certs run out, we're always like, oh, we should switch to Let's Encrypt. And then we have problems. And then we're like, fine, we'll just buy the new certs for another 2 years. And then we just kind of kick the can down the road a little further.
Yeah. Well, I know on the CentOS 6 systems, the Python version that's provided by the package manager is out of date for certbot, so it complains and sometimes doesn't do the auto updates.
So maybe not being on Debian will avoid that.
I think it'll run smoother on Debian.
Yeah, I would guess so as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Justin, for putting forward so much effort on that. That's very exciting. I mean, our current version of PHP is 5.4, which just seems atrocious in this day and age. But unbelievably, on a new install of Red Hat, that's still the current version. Like even on the latest stable of Red Hat, it's still the current version.
Yeah, I think it's one of these cases where the vendor promised that they will be backporting the security fixes to the previous versions. So that's why. So it's still, it might be not officially supported by PHP, but it's supported by Red Hat.
Yep. Yeah, I know that that's supposed to be the case, and it probably is for the most part, but still, it's really frustrating that it's just so freaking ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's exactly why Backdrop still has that ridiculous, old version of PHP requirement, because it's not a problem just with us, like, just for us. There's a lot of people that are still running old versions of PHP.
Yeah.
We have exceeded the time. I just want to quickly bring up another matter and just quickly get the feel for what people feel like about this. Is I have suggested in the past, I'm not sure if I've added a ticket for it, that we should ship core with at least an extra layout for context node /%, so that people can, because it's easier for people to enable and play with things and configure them rather than build them from scratch. And now another possible use case for a layout came up with the login page, where, yeah, you need to follow that issue to have a clue. But yeah, in general, how do people feel about another couple of layouts being added, even disabled, if not, if we don't want to enforce them to people shipping with core? That's what I mean.
Anybody else want to say something?
Silence. Okay.
I'm generally in favor. I think that.
Sorry, what was the question?
So the question is, how do you feel about adding another couple of layouts, not layout templates, but actual layouts like the default, the front page layout that we have?
Oh.
So, and one use case for that was in the past to add something with a, call it content layout or something like that, and have it have the node /%.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah, because one of the problems that we have with newcomers, like I've asked even my brother, which is not a Drupal user or that, to play around with it, and I said that yes, you can add fields as blocks to layouts, and it took them a while to just sort of like start complaining about, but I don't see any fields as blocks. And then I was puzzled. I go, yeah, you're right. And then I figured out, oh yeah, not the right context. So I guess that it's easier for newcomers to enable a layout that offers the blocks out of the box, sort of.
Yep, I agree. I think it's natural that people typically will try to add a layout at like node /10, because they think, oh, I want to add blocks to this path, but they like that. That's a little. I mean, I think there's an issue for that as well, like making that easier. But yeah, we would avoid the problem in the first place of to edit. So
yeah, And if it's too much, like we do have the option to disable layout, so they can ship disabled by default if it's like too many blocks there, too many layouts. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that makes me hesitant is I wish that there were a reason or like a different block that we would actually want to add to an individual node layout.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually thinking, but this might break people's sites. So it would be actually a use case to have the posts by default use that layout and have the image be on the sidebar or something like that, or a bio. It would make an excellent out-of-the-box use case of how you can use fields as blocks.
Yeah. Or there may be something like a more blog posts view or something like that that would go on the sidebar or something like that. Which I know the out-of-box WordPress its behavior is to have that funny archive thing in the sidebar that shows all of your posts by month and year in the sidebar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that we should do that, but similar.
Yep. All right, cool. I'll have a little bit more thought about it, and I'll file an issue for it. Okay.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up. We're over time by quite a bit, and Jen is handling a barking dog. So let's call it a meeting. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and a great discussion. And we'll talk to you guys later, and see you on the internet.
Yep. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Cat. How's it going, Cat? Cat. Hello, Cat. Cat.
Goodbye for real.
No, I want to see the cat.